Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Vuvu and this is Vuvu Vena Reads. I have not been consistent, but I've been playing around with my uploading dates and days, not dates, and I can't explain to you because there was a time where I was comfortable with bulk shooting. Then I'm in a season where I'm not really comfortable with bulk shooting, which makes it a bit difficult for me to upload when I'm meant to if I don't have like a bank of stuff to upload. So that's the explanation. I'm so sorry, but I'm still trying to bring you 3 videos a week and I'm gonna try to stick to that. So this is video number 1 of the week, which was meant to come out yesterday, but it's Tuesday and we're gonna act like it's Monday and we're gonna proceed with our lives. So please do be kind and excuse, and if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, please do consider pressing the red subscribe button. I never know where to put it, down below. And if you are a returnee, hi fam, thank you so very much for joining me. On today's video we are reviewing book number 2 in the Hlomu series, which is Zandile The Resolute. So this is book number 2 of 6 in the series, and in this specific one we get to view the story and the family through the vantage point of the firstborn son of the Zulu family, who is Nkosana, whose love interest is Zandile. Now, we were introduced to Zandile a little bit here and there in the first book, which is Hlomu the wife, and we got a sense that she has a packed story behind her, right? We got the sense that there is something there that needs to be unpacked, that we would not survive if we were not told. And I think that's the magic of how I almost called her Hlomu. How Dudu ends the first book is that she almost hangs it on somewhat of a cliffhanger. It's not a traditional cliffhanger, but she whets your appetite for the next book, which we already knew would be Zandile The Resolute. So the perspective of Nkosana and Zandile allows us to see the family in a different light, right? Because as the firstborn son of this family who had taken it upon himself to care for his brothers and whoever they end up with after they lost their parents at a very young age, and to also get a glimpse into the psyche and the working of this family and how I almost want to say screwed them together, right? And how they are unbreakable as a unit. So we get to see that from his perspective while we are hearing Zandile's story as well. Those of you who have read the first book, excuse the spoilers, we know that Zandile had been away from the family for a number of years due to circumstances that we know but we don't really know. So in this book they unravel, and when we watch the breaking of, how do I put this, a mother who could not be there for her kids for her own kids' sake. I don't know if that even makes sense. So we watch how they navigate these complexities of life, and I love the fact that when telling African love stories, Dudu has brought in something of African culture. So we get to see a lot of the Zulu culture, especially in how they treat their customs in marital situations, and how important it is to belong in the traditional sense. So we overcome certain obstacles with this couple that are related to cultural demands. You might agree, you might not agree with them, but the point here for me is that this is the reality of life, and constantly people who are marrying into very culturally aware families have to make it a point that they oblige to some extent with certain requirements. And how she brings in these things, like I'm saying, is quite phenomenal, and I don't think that it is too far-fetched. So it's not like she's bringing in things that are of a different genre, but she's bringing in things that are of African reality, and she's woven it into this love story. I was saying the other day how beautiful it is to see black love on paper, and a black love that you can identify with. It goes back to this whole concept of representation, and I think what she's done with these books is that she's made love in its complexity real and true to anybody who looks like me who's reading the book. So I really love what she's done with that. I also mentioned in my wrap up that the other beauty about what she's doing with her story is that she's not painting this Prince Charming kind of character or characters or these princess and fairy tales. She's taking really fundamentally flawed human beings who are so real, so real. Like, they could be your friends, they could be your siblings, they could be your cousins, but you can easily relate with them because they are that real, and she's making them collide. And in their collision, she's emphasizing love beyond just romance, and I think that's what makes it such a beautiful tale to read. And I think that's also the addiction. I've already told you guys time and again that she will take you on an emotional roller coaster. That's what she does, and I think that's part of why we fall in love with the story before we fall in love with the characters. And anybody who, you know what, the funny thing about this is that it reminds me of the fandom around the what's this, Twilight series, right? When it first came out in its peak, that people were Team Edward, Team Jason, blah blah. It's the same thing when you get around a group of women who have read this series. Chances are very high that they will pick which wife they associate with best and which man or brother they associate with best. I've made it publicly known. My MVP, my real hardcore sister, the one and only, will forever be Hlomu. No one will beat Hlomu. It doesn't matter who you say, who you bring into the fold, what you say. Hlomu trumps them all. You can love the rest of them, but Hlomu trumps them all. And for me, I'm yet to come across somebody else who has taken a liking to the brother that I've taken a liking to. If you don't follow me on social media and you've read the series, you are allowed to guess in the comment section down below which brother you think that I have grown a liking towards. His part of the story really plays out quite interestingly in the second book, and it gives you that sense of something is looming. Something that shouldn't be looming is looming in the story. And also it goes back to this notion of reality, like I'm saying, that these things do happen. We might not talk about them as much as we should, but these things actually happen. You will find at times that you marry somebody that your brother or your sister ends up falling in love with, and it is what it is. But what happens in situations of that nature? And for me, that was a great intrigue in what she's done in the story with one of the siblings and one of the wives. And Zandile's story, her personal story, because we are hearing her story in this, is quite sad. And it's sad also because the issue of abuse keeps coming up in Dudu's stories and Dudu's books. Even the third one that I've read, I'll review later on this month. But this issue of abuse keeps coming up, and sometimes as a reader you want to interact with issues of that nature and say, this is not our society. You want to look at it and say, this is not a reflection of us, but unfortunately it is. And it does not matter how many times you see abuse and prejudice and any of that kind of stuff on paper, it will always constantly be something that's a heartbreaker. And the grammar in this one, sorry, I must tell you, has improved a lot, and I am so grateful. I was so grateful for that, because like I'm saying, it nearly spoiled my experience of the book. But definitely she's done better in this one, and she's done better in the third book as well. So I can only hope that the fourth book will be even much better. So all in all, I gave Zandile The Resolute 4 out of 5 stars, and she really did well with this series, man. Guys, I don't know what to say to you guys. And if you have been hesitating to pick it up, and for whatever reason, it might not even be the issue of the grammar, but maybe you think you're not into series or whatever, what I would encourage you to do is read it with a group of other people, because it helps to bounce off the reactions. It's kind of like when you are binging a series, a TV series with your friends. At least you can react together and commentate together. That makes it a whole lot more fun. I am still reading this with Omphile from Bookamoso as well as Bookish Nonhly. YouTube is giving me a headache when it comes to tagging anything on my description box, so I'm struggling to tag them, but that's who I'm reading this with, and we've been having a ball. Yeah, otherwise that was my sentiments around the second book in the Hlomu series. We have recently finished book 3, like I'm saying, and we'll be delving into book 4 at the end of this month, and hopefully we will finish the series, if not in December, then in early January. But it's not like I'm looking forward to it, because I do feel like when it ends, what will become of us? No, honestly, who will we be without the series? And you ready, but we shall see. Otherwise, thank you so very much for tuning in, and don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, I love you very, very much for choosing me. Bye now.